afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming. This is such a great turnout. Thank you so much. Mayor Betancourt?
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Charlotte for helping arrange this. We've been having this moment now for a few years, and it's very special to me personally and to so many of all of you as well. And I'm really appreciative of you joining us here today. I did want to recognize some of our elected officials that are here today. Our State Representative, Tom Walsh. Thank you, Tom, for being here. I also wanted to recognize Rosa from Senator Joan Lovely's office. Thank you for being here, Rosa. From our City Council, Julie Daigle, our Ward 4 Councilor. Thank you, Julie. I wanted to recognize our former City Councilor who's here today, Dave Gravel. Thank you, Dave, for being here. And I also wanted to recognize from our State Democratic Committee, Julie Curtis, also being here. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. So I do have a proclamation I'm going to read a little later, but I wanted at this point to turn it over to Charlotte for some words, and then I'll come back before the flag raising. Charlotte.
I'd like to introduce Lauren. She's from the Alzheimer's Association. Lauren is filling in for, well, she has her own job, but she's also filling in. It sounded like you weren't doing much. Lauren is filling in for Autumn Holing, who organized the 22 walk this year in Andover, and she just had a baby girl this week, Molly. So we're all excited about that. Okay.
Hi everyone, as Charlotte mentioned, I'm Lauren Ritchie with the Alzheimer's Association. Just want to first thank you so much for all being here and thank the mayor, the city of Peabody, and the Jackson family for helping organize such a great community coming together in support of the Alzheimer's Association and helping us raise awareness for Alzheimer's and all other dementia. I brought some I know we've done this for a few years, so I tried to pull some statistics and updates from what happened since last year here. So our vision is a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia, and we do that through several different ways, and we look at it as kind of three buckets: our care, cause, and cure. So in terms of the cure is our research funding. So besides the U.S. government and the Chinese government, we are the largest global funder, nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's and dementia research. Currently, we are funding $310 million in 45 countries. Here in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, there's $20 million of research that's being funded. We're very fortunate to be in a very robust research community, obviously, and so a lot of that does stay here or come back to here from all of our efforts across the country. And then in addition to that, we do a lot of advocacy work through our cause. So we have folks and volunteers that go and talk to our local, state, and federal officials, and they do things like advocate for increased NIH funding. And I'll give a quick pause. So those folks have been working over the last 10 years to increase our federal funding to the NIH sevenfold, and we are happy to say we are now at $3.5 billion that is going to additional funding, research funding outside of the money that we raise ourselves. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we recognize, as much as we want a cure for this disease and we want to end Alzheimer's, that we're taking care of those families and loved ones that are going through it right now. And so we do that in many different ways through our programs and services. We have education programs, we have support groups, and awareness events. So in the last year, in 2021, we had 30,000 people in Massachusetts and New Hampshire that accessed our programs, 86 support groups that we trained ourselves, and over 10,000 helpline calls. So we have a 24/7 helpline that is staffed by master clinicians. People can call with questions as simple as, I don't know what Alzheimer's is, to 2 o'clock in the morning and your loved one who has Alzheimer's is trying to get out of the house and you just need some help and advice on what to do. So anything in that range, there's people there all the time, completely free. All of these services are free, in part thanks to the work of our walk and families like the Jacksons and many of you for the donations and support that you've made over the years. And we just want to thank you so much. You're helping us serve the 130,000 people in Massachusetts who are living with Alzheimer's, and there are 284,000 caregivers. So thank you so much and helping us spread the awareness and making sure that our services get out there.
Okay, next I'd like to introduce Stephanie Johnson. Her mom has Alzheimer's, and she's going to tell you what it's like, a little bit of what it's like. Nobody can tell you what it's like. Why am I saying that? You know, you have to live it.
She's right. Nobody can tell you what it's like. I'm not so sure I wanted to know what it was like, but that's another story. I gave myself some notes because, again, I'm nervous lately speaking in front of groups, which has been weird. I'm going to start with a thank you, and I'm going to end with a thank you. The person who tells me to thank first and after knows this person. I'm thankful and not thankful to be part of this community. The community of Alzheimer's and the community that's here supporting it, truthfully. For me, it's a theme of, I'm going to go with today's, tears and fears, okay? Spend a lot of time dropping a lot of tears. And the biggest thing has been fear, not knowing what's coming, and fear that I'm not taking the time to make sure that I'm using that time efficiently for the time that we have. Making sure I'm dedicating time to help make an end to it, and at the same time not missing a single moment that's important. It has mostly been for me comedy, and as I've quickly found out, as the oldest in my family, I'm the one who has to handle it for everybody else. I have siblings that refuse to go visit without me being there at the same time, and that comes in a thankful part because of all of the resources that are available to be able to say, check out this course or check out this talk that I just watched. Just make sense of kind of what just happened Sunday morning. Especially those unexpected tears that come from nowhere from my mom that I don't always know what to do with. So instead I tell her a very off-color joke, some of which she's told me in the past, and they always work out. And she's like, that's a great joke. I'm like, I know, I heard it from someone. So I'm going to go back onto the fear and tears again, and that is about being in the right place at the right time. I spend most days unsure of what to expect, and then also not expecting anything at all. Last week I was outside, just run out my car to go get something, and a person I've never seen before walking a new puppy said, do you know this woman? And the woman was my neighbor who's very, very far advanced stages of Alzheimer's and was wandering up and down the street. So I walked up to her. She recognized her name, Rita. I said, come on, Rita, let's go figure out what Arnold's doing, her husband. My concern, they're both much older, that something had happened to Arnold inside, and I was just going to walk into their house randomly and try to figure that out without getting her scared. And she held onto my arm so tightly that I swear her fingernails were burying into the skin. And I thought, how awful to be that scared of not knowing which way to go. And then at the same time, thankful because I was in the right place at the right time. Promise me you won't leave, she said. And I said, oh, no, I'm not leaving. I did have to be somewhere, but I didn't leave. No phone, no nothing with me. And I thought sometimes these things cross your path and it's a gift. And if it calmed her, I'm thankful to say Arnold is fine. He was just taking a quick nap. But I'm thankful for again, I'm going to go back and circle it around. Thankful for the opportunities that present themselves to me to make a difference. Thankful for the crew and all the calls you can make that are there readily available when you need them. And I'm thankful for just when I think I'm not going to be able to handle something, I get a random text from Charlotte asking how my day's going. and it sometimes comes from nowhere. And then those make me cry, and I don't tell her I'm crying, but I'm usually crying. And then my husband says, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing. It's no big deal." But I'm really most thankful for that. All these people are here supporting this because of your bringing your awareness to it with us all. So that's where I'm at today. So thank you.
Great. Okay. Didn't know that was happening. All right, so I have a few announcements. Couple of things we're going to be doing this week. We have a senior walk on, and anybody can come. You know, we don't care how young or old you are. You can come and walk the track with us on Thursday at 10 a.m. And then, of course, Sunday is our walk right here in Peabody. You don't even have to go to Andover. You can just come here. And that we're going to meet at 9:30, and we're going to walk at 10. There's a 1 mile and there's a 3 mile. Well, you know which one I'm doing, right? So that's it. And I have something. I hope I can read it now that she's got me all emotional. Okay, this is one of the poems that I used to read when my husband was alive, and it really helped me get through some of the days that I was going through. Do not ask me to remember. Do not try to make me understand. Let me rest and know you're with me. Kiss my cheek and hold my hand. I'm confused beyond concern. I am sad and sick and lost. All I know is that you need to be with me at all cost. Do not lose your patience with me. Do not scold or curse my cry. I can't help the way I'm acting. Can't be different, though I try. Just remember that I need you, that the best of me is gone. Please don't fail to share beside me. Love me till my life is gone. It's good to have a reminder every once in a while, isn't it?
Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, Stephanie, for your words. That poem was beautiful. As I mentioned, this is always a very meaningful day for me, a meaningful moment to gather together. My grandmother, Colleen Letcher, passed away from Alzheimer's. And I was actually thinking as Stephanie was talking, because humor is so important. My parents were her caregivers. My mother and father, Ed and Barb Betancourt, were her caregivers for several years as the disease ate away at her. But I was thinking what my sisters and I would always ask of my grandmother is we think, had a pony when she was younger. At least that's the story she always told. And she would tell this story about a pony, and it was pretty amazing. But to see her when we would bring up her pony, just how excited she would get, and she would tell the same story over and over again, and we would ask the same questions over and over again. But just that moment to kind of see her come back to life a little bit to talk about her pony was so meaningful to all of us. And I would just love to hear that pony story again. But we saw the disease. She was a vibrant, funny, active, just an amazing person. And to see the disease just take all of that away from her over a several-year period was so difficult. And that's why this day is meaningful. I think of her. I think of my parents. My grandmother was lucky to have loving people around as the Jacksons were, and now Stephanie. To have that support is so meaningful, and it's just always an important day. And I always think of her a lot, but on this day in particular. I wanted to read. We have a proclamation declaring September 2022 Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Whereas a heartbreaking disease present in more than 5 million Americans, Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia and causes people to lose many of their critical abilities they need to live independently. And whereas too often those suffering from Alzheimer's cannot recognize their loved ones or remember how to perform daily tasks, struggling physically and mentally with things that once came so naturally. During National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, we resolve to continue working towards this brighter future as we stand with every person battling Alzheimer's and their loved ones. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is more likely to affect Americans as they grow older, although genetics can also play a role, age is the most significant risk factor. But Alzheimer's touches many more individuals than simply those who are diagnosed. Dedicated caregivers, whether professionals, family members, or friends, are also emotionally, physically, and financially affected by Alzheimer's, giving of themselves to ensure those who face it are not alone. And whereas from researchers and advocates who are bringing us closer to preventing this disease, to family members who devotedly look after their loved ones, people across our country are doing their part to support those touched by Alzheimer's. This month, let us honor those we have lost too soon and renew our efforts to ensure more Americans can live their lives with health and happiness. And as mayor of the city, I declare today, September, as National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month in Peabody. I'd like to ask the Jackson family and Stephanie to come forward and join me. And I also wanted to ask my friend Ken Kosher, who lost his mother to Alzheimer's, to come forward as well as we raise the flag. So please come up and let's raise the flag together.